Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Bitcoin. I will be breaking down this chart, going into a little bit more detail what's going on here with Bitcoin as far as Elliott waves go. Also, you guys, somebody asked me about what I meant by the roaring 20s, so I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail as to what that is and why I personally see a huge move coming inside of the stock market, inside of a lot of the commodity markets, and also crypto being fueled by the same conditions that are fueling the world market explosion. So without further ado, if you guys are not a subscriber to my channel, hit that subscribe button as well as commenting down below if you have suggestions for coins, and we will get straight into today's analysis. So starting off here with Bitcoin, you guys can see that I have this chart made. I did post this chart on my Twitter. So if you guys do not follow me on Twitter, that is at High Altitude Investing. High Altitude INV is my handle on Twitter. So you guys can find me on there. I do post charts on there sometimes when I'm not on YouTube. I also post in my Discord and quite regularly in the VIP as well. So you guys, if you see what we're looking at here with Bitcoin is the bigger picture Elliott wave structure. We have a wave 1, we have a wave 2, meaning that this bigger white line, I'll actually even change the color to green so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a 1 and a 2 wave. As you can see, I have an example of an Elliott wave cycle on the left, how there's always 5 waves up and an ABC correction. And in between every single one of those, there's also 5 waves up in an ABC. So you can see how I have drawn in between 0 up to 1 on the green line. I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ABC down between 1 and 2. And then also you'll see between 2 and 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between 3 and 4, we have an ABC. So we're getting the bigger picture cycle also has smaller Elliott cycles inside of it. We call that a major wave and a subwave. So our major wave is this green Elliott wave in the background, this bigger one. So basically what's formed here in between 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 is a 1 wave, 2 wave structure. It actually goes back a little bit further than that, but roughly that time period we have a 1 and 2 wave structure. And then the 3 wave came into the market. And of course, the 4 wave is what caused the 80% correction in some of the altcoins. And of course, we saw 50% drops in Bitcoin. So that wave 4 was something that shook a lot of people out of the market. But that's, of course, going to happen because in cryptocurrency, we often have what's called an extended 5th wave. So you can see over here in the top right of my chart, I have this little thing that says, how high will wave 5 go? And you guys, the reason for that is because cryptocurrency has extended 5th waves. They often have a 5 wave that's bigger than wave 1, wave 2, bigger than wave 3, and wave 4. It ends up being the largest wave in the cycle. So that's why I have this little question mark up here asking how high will wave 5 go. I personally have targets already defined for my members, my mastermind members know, my one-on-one members, and my VIP members all know that I do actually have a specific target already in mind for Bitcoin and a trading plan for how to take profits. You guys will see me posting my exact sell orders, of course, as we get up there, but we're still only worth 47,000 per coin. And you can see that this wave 5, knowing that that can be extended, could still be quite significantly bigger than wave 3 or even wave 1. So you can see why I have this little question up here in the top right. Also, you guys, just to ask you guys in the comment section below, I did switch my background to being a darker theme. As you can see, one person commented that the white theme was hard for their eyes to see. So I just wanted to get an idea in the comment section if this is easier for you guys to see or harder to see. I will go ahead and switch it accordingly, just so you guys can see easier. Because personally, I do use the white for my analysis, but I don't really care too much. So it's really depends on what you guys want to see. So yeah, wave 5 in Bitcoin can be very large. Like I said, this is not stopping at the specific target that I have defined in my group or anything. I just dropped that wave up there. But yeah, inside of the group, you guys will see me post, of course, the 3 sell orders and everything if you're in the VIP or the mastermind or the one-on-one as Bitcoin starts to really accelerate here in wave 5. Because there's always a correction after that 5th wave, just like how we had this brutal correction between 3 and 4 that shook a lot of people out, that, makes people hesitant to think that there's anything else coming. That's just because that's the nature of the market. Be greedy when others are fearful. Wave 4 is, of course, going to shake people out before a massive 5th wave. And also the wave 4 buy zone is between the 382, the 50%, and the 618. So this is actually stopped right at the perfect buy zone for wave 4 on Bitcoin. So one of you guys was asking me in the comment section below about the world markets and what I meant by the roaring 20s. So I'm going to get into that a little bit, starting off with actually not the IXIC, the NASDAQ composite, the American NASDAQ composite, but rather starting off with the Dow Jones Industrial Average and going way back here historically. And just looking here and seeing kind of what happened, leading up to the roaring 20s. Well, actually what happened leading up to the roaring 20s was very, very interesting. There was the Spanish flu, and then in 1920 there was a crash, a stock market crash in 1920. Just like how, and guess what, in 2020 there was a stock market crash. So we have this stock market crash in 1920, and then certain conditions created basically a very, very lucrative market condition we called the roaring 20s. And that's where we saw this huge parabolic move where the market went ahead and went parabolic, just like how it did, during the internet bubble back here in 2000. And we've seen markets do that, like Bitcoin in 2017, right? So this huge thing led to the Great Depression. So this was the roaring 20s leading to the Great Depression, okay? Now, if we go look and see what's going on in the world markets today, and the NASDAQ composite is actually going to be a lot more of like a volatile representation. So we'll look at both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ. We're actually having a repeat of the same exact market conditions that created the roaring 20s. And so we had a stock market crash in 2020 here. We have a perfect situation as far as hyperinflation goes, as far as gold being undervalued, as far as all of those things, for us to see a parabolic blow off top. Just like what happened to Bitcoin when it went from being worth like 3,000 up to 20,000, you can expect the same kind of expansion happening here in the Dow Jones. And basically that would mean that top stocks, gold, oil, stocks that are undervalued, they're just going to keep going parabolic as we keep printing money. And that will lead to basically the same exact environment that led to the roaring 20s, but also, as you can see, what happened in the 1930s was the Great Depression. You can see that around here would be 2030. So this is what I mean by the same environment conditions for that type of move. Some people would be like, oh, Dallin, how would you say that? We just had COVID, all this stuff. Well, Spanish flu happened right before the roaring 20s. There was also stimulus stuff. There's an unreal amount of similarities between everything that's going on in the world now and what led to the roaring 20s. So also we look at silver here, and silver is painting a perfect cup and handle pattern. This is a huge cup and handle pattern. Very, very good trading pattern here. As you can see, it's a bullish continuation pattern, meaning that it's going to continue in the bullish direction that the market's already in. And we have this cup, and then we have this right handle. So this is obviously the structure that would be leading into a huge parabolic rise in silver. Now, people say, well, Dallin, if you're expecting a rise in silver, then doesn't that mean that you should expect a crash in the stock market? The actual reality of the situation is that stocks lead silver. So what ends up happening is stocks will top out, and then the commodities will top out shortly behind. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is compare the charts together. Very, very simply, you'll see, if we just go ahead and add a comparison chart here, compare symbol to the S&P 500, for example, and we'll go to the index. All right. And if you look and see what actually happened is we had the huge run up in the early 2000s. This is the S&P 500, but on the NASDAQ, it even went higher right here, the IXIC. And then what happened is silver ran afterwards. So it was leading. Stocks were leading. And we have a lot of undervalued stocks still. So this leads me to believe that silver is extremely undervalued, that it will start rising, stocks will continue to rise, and we're going to, just like how altcoins topped out slightly after Bitcoin topped out back in 2018, the same thing is happening with stocks, commodities, and the world markets. But with that being said, Bitcoin is set up to have at least 2 cycles in between now and the mania that should be coming in the world markets because of the setups that we're seeing and the conditions that we're seeing. So you guys, there's a lot of exciting stuff. That's what I mean. It's not just silver that's undervalued. You have uranium, gold is breaking out. Bitcoin's obviously breaking out. If you go check out oil stocks like ExxonMobil, you're going to find right away that this stock is extremely undervalued. It's starting to break out of a 1 and a 2 wave structure, Elliott wave structure. So this means that it's going to head for a parabolic blow off top. Again, think what happened to Bitcoin when it went from $3,000 up to $20,000. That's exactly what's going to happen to these oil stocks. And then, yeah, they're going to be overvalued too, and we're going to have a crash. But yeah, that looks like that time frame would line right up with around 2030. The same exact scenarios that's forming. And like I said, commodities and even oil stocks might lag slightly behind. Tech stocks might top out slightly earlier than that. But with that being said, we have a perfect market scenario to make a lot of money over the next 8 years in the world markets, 7, roughly 8 years. And I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to be posting videos, sharing this analysis with you guys, helping as many people prepare, make money on the rise, and also prepare for the crash that will ultimately come as a result of that same type of move. Now, also, one more thing before we go, just to talk a little bit. Some people are wondering, well, Dallin, doesn't it look like this is already topped out? Well, you have to understand that oil stocks have not topped out yet. Walmart has not topped out yet. Apple has not topped out yet. We still have continuation patterns painting on almost all of the major stocks. And so you have to go look at something like Dow Jones and compare it to another market cycle that has previously happened. And then you'll get a better idea of, okay, maybe Dallin, it has something to this whole idea of the stock market seeing more rise before any type of a massive crash. And then the other thing is people say war. Well, also war can fuel things like war has a tendency to actually fuel economic growth. So let's go ahead and open up. There can be short-term panic as a result of war breaking out, but that usually blows over very quickly as industry starts to develop in order to handle war. So let's go ahead and pull up the Dow Jones, and we're going to go ahead and pull up Ethereum as well. And we're going to run over this last thing here. And I promise if you stay clear till the very end, there's going to be some awesome information, so wait for that as well. So if we look at Ethereum here, and we're going to go ahead and pull up Ethereum somewhere where we can see enough price history here. Probably on Poloniex will be the one where we have. There we go. We have a lot of price history on Poloniex. Ethereum is actually a spitting image of what we saw happen in the Dow Jones. So let's go ahead and look and see what's going on here. All right. So if we look at Ethereum on the bottom and we look at the Dow Jones on the top, we have the same double corrective pattern that occurred early on in its cycle. Then the cycle starts to expand out, starts to break out a little bit, has a massive correction. That was the COVID correction, right? And then it starts to go up again. And it rises. This goes for the parabolic blow off top. This is what I'm talking about. And this only just started. This little correction right here, there was little corrections in the middle of this candle here too. This only just started. This can easily rise for another 5, 6, 7 years before it sees the big crash that will ultimately come out of that. And so this is, you have to understand the context of where you're at in the cycle before just jumping the gun on saying that the entire world is going to turn around and go into a massive Great Depression. It usually has a blow-off top. Well, it always has a blow-off top before those Great Depression events occur, just like how Bitcoin has to have that same blow-off top before it goes into its bear market, which is why we're seeing a raging recovery from the bulls, exactly as we would expect in a bull market, continuation and recovery. So this is exactly what we want to see happening, and all of the structure for the Roaring 20s is perfect. So that's what I meant, you guys. Bitcoin is very exciting. Like I said in my other videos, we have XRP setting up for massive breakouts. It's even getting ready to break out of massive resistances. It already did a huge Ichimoku breakout on the 5-day, but it's getting ready to break out of massive resistance here. So there's a lot of awesome things to be excited about in crypto. So huge thank you for everybody that stayed clear till the very end of this video. You guys, I do still have some open slots in my mastermind program. Basically what that means for you guys is that you get to tune in every single Saturday, either in my morning session or my evening session, depending on where you are in the world. And basically we just run over the charts. We talk about what coins I'm holding in my mastermind portfolio as I take it from 10,000 to 100,000, and we help you make your first 100,000 or your first million investing in the crypto markets. I do have millionaire students I have already made, so I would love to make more while the opportunity is here. There's a lot of 25x, 45x opportunities in the market. My best friend is a multi-millionaire crypto investor doing the exact same techniques that we use in the markets every single day. I have my first female millionaire student last year, which was really awesome to see. And this is only the beginning of what's coming in crypto, and I think it's only the beginning of what I can do for you guys as well. So definitely check out the mastermind program, apply for it. The links are in the description below. Like I said, well, the opportunity is here to make that type of a gain. I am still accepting some slots into that program. So go ahead and check that out. Huge thank you for tuning in to today's update on the markets, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my future updates. As always, stay profitable out there.